Good evening, everybody. We'll call the Select Board meeting of Monday, June 8th, 2026 to order. Would you please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll do open forum first. Is anybody here for open forum? And if you're here about the cell tower, you don't have to do open forum. We'll talk about that later. So this is if you have anything not related to anything else on the agenda.
Yep, you guys can come on.
Come on up. And then you. And then we'll do you, Donna. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Hi.
You just say your names for the record.
I'm Carrie Kingman.
I'm Tony Furtado.
Well, what can we do for you?
We are looking to have a walk, suicide prevention walk, and then after we would have an event at the commercial club.
Okay.
So we're looking to for that.
Okay. And what is the date that you wanted to do?
August 22nd.
Okay.
Yep.
So I think there's paperwork that's going to be submitted, and then,
Which has been, and we're just,
Okay.
Lee mentioned that she's waiting to hear from the police chief.
Okay.
Here.
Yep, they're working through some details, right, Chief?
We're all set, yeah, I spoke with Kerry last week, so we're good to go. We're gonna work on a perfect
Okay.
group together, and we'll have it covered and make sure they have a great day.
okay. So we can get it on our agenda for the 22nd and get it officially approved once all that paperwork is submitted.
Okay.
And signed off on, and then, we'll be all set. So-
Tony, you have anything to add? I'm sure you got a couple words.
Well, I always have a few words. I think it's, what we really want to do is bring awareness to it and develop like a community of people that are struggling, just so they know that there are people out there that care. Because I think a lot of people, this touches a lot of people.
It does.
And people are afraid to say anything. And they struggle, they say they struggle in silence. So we just want to make it a little bit more comfortable. And I think by having events like this, getting a lot of people, having people posted on social media, it can kind of open up that opportunity for people that are hurting to kind of spread the word and maybe make a phone call.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's happened in my family, so I appreciate that you're doing this, and if we can support you, it's just, I think, you don't think it will ever happen to you or someone that you're close to until it does.
yeah.
And then you find out when you talk about it that it does impact so many people. So I applaud you for doing this and hope that we can support the event by being there, too.
Thank you
you.
so much.
Great.
Sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
Okay, great.
Yep, you guys are all set. Thank you. Yep.
Thank you
So-
so much.
And you don't have to come back on the 22nd.
Right, you'll see it on the
Okay.
agenda. As the chair just said, you don't have to come back.
Yep.
Just, you've already had the discussion, you'll have to have a formal vote on the 22nd, because it's not on tonight's agenda.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can come, but you don't have to come.
Thank you so much.
Our meetings aren't always this full, so. Thank you. You can come on up, sir. Hello.
Hi there.
Hi.
My name is Richard Sikorsky. I live on West Union Street. Moved in 1981.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of changes, okay? One specific change is the amount of traffic coming down that street. Okay? Anybody who's gone on 24 trying to get to 18 has to navigate 7 traffic lights. They get to East Street, they turn left on East Street, right on Union Street. Straight, no traffic lights. They are flying down that street, literally. I had the opportunity, because my house is facing that street, I built a nice little deck, and I sit there, I said, hey, let me count the cars. May 4th, arbitrary date, between the hours of 3 to 5, 297 cars heading towards the center of town. One 18-wheeler, and I don't know when we allowed 18-wheelers to come down that street, a car carrier fully loaded with cars, and a tank truck. And nobody's slowing down. Okay? My suggestion, and I have filled out the appropriate documentation with the traffic board.
That was going to be my,
Yeah,
Next.
it's already in there.
Okay.
Okay. Portable speed bumps. 4 of them. Because once they clear that children's sign where it's flat, they are going downhill. The advantage of the portable speed bumps, okay, they're removable. You can take them out in the wintertime, you can do your plowing and the whole thing, put them back whenever you want. But something has to be done with the amount of speed. I don't want to see a police officer sitting there wasting taxpayers' time and his time and money, because they see him, they slow down, next thing you know, he's gone, and bingo, we're back up to it.
Right.
People walking their dogs, riding their bikes, exercising on that, it's a fake, it's a false sidewalk anyway.
Right.
Okay? And when they hit that turn over the Metfield River, okay, that road narrows. An 18-wheeler is taking up almost half of the other lane. Something is going to happen. Something's going to happen. Now, you can't do anything about the volume, okay, obviously. But the cut-through, how do you get them to slow down? I mean, I don't have, only drawbacks with the portable speed bumps, okay? Emergency vehicles, they have to slow down, okay? The survey was done in 2004. It basically, it increases the time by 10 seconds per speed bump. So my suggestion is 4, 2 on each side, it's 20 seconds. That's gonna cost, 20 seconds could mean the difference between life and death, and it's a consideration, okay? Again, they're portable, they're removable, you can move them around, cost $81 a piece. Relatively cheap. There's no asphalt, there's no maintenance involved in these things. They're rubber, 44,000, 44,000 pounds of pressure can be applied on these, and they're not going to break. So again, it's becoming. I can't pull out of my driveway. I can't. I've got bushes to my right. I have to pull my truck out at least halfway. People don't stop there honking their horns. I'm getting cussed like you wouldn't believe, and I've got to find a spot basically, to wheel out and pull back in. So the volume, obviously, 297 cars in 2 hours, and that's just coming down the street. Going home, I can't imagine what the numbers are, and nobody wants to, you walk your dog, I can't walk my dog down that street, I'm gonna jump into the hayfield pretty soon. It's like, so, it's.
Okay, well, thank you for your comment, and I think Rebecca explained to you that this will go to the Traffic Advisory Committee. Now, will you contact him when you guys discuss it, or afterwards, or
Yep, so we have.
refresh us on the process?
We have the request. We will be meeting, it'll be on the agenda, and we'll be meeting
Like I said,
Tuesday,
they
the
have-
16th at 8:30.
And they have the appropriate, documentation.
Yes.
Anytime any from the traffic board wants to sit next to me and get an iced tea and watch the cars go flying by, and I can guarantee you, nobody's doing 30 miles an hour.
Right.
So,
Okay.
again,
All
it's a concern. It's,
Yeah.
You're more than welcome to attend the meeting, or you'll hear back from us after we meet.
sounds good.
All right, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for your
Appreciate
time.
you. All right, and then we are going to take one action item out of order. If you would do number 9,
9.
because Donna Pattinson is here.
Oh, yeah, Donna's here, yep, I saw her. Donna, why don't you come on up? I'll make a motion to appoint Donna Patterson to the Patriotic Activities Committee effective June 8th, 2026 to June 30th, 2029.
Second, why don't you tell us just why you want to be on the committee, and then we'll get you all approved.
Well, I am the daughter of a Marine, the wife of, actually the widow of a Vietnam veteran, and the mother of 2 veterans. And I usually at all of the events the town has, Memorial Day, the flags on the Common, everything. And now that my grandchildren have gotten a little older and don't need me all the time, I have time that I can volunteer. I also co-chair the the Veterans Appreciation Night that we have at the Commercial Club
Okay.
with Deirdre Sullivan. I'm her co-chair for that. And I just love it. I absolutely love it. So, and I work very well with the VSO here in town, Chris Buckley, so
Okay,
just seems like the natural thing to do now.
great. Well, thank you for stepping up. You got
Yeah,
anything?
I appreciate it. I thought you were going to say because of Dale Julius, but, right? But that's okay. Yeah, we appreciate it. Anytime, anybody that comes out and gives their time to these committees, it's greatly appreciated because we've got a lot of them that,
And Dale Julius.
absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go. Thank you so
very
much.
much.
Thank
All
you.
right. Now, we will move to our appointment, 6:05 with Diane Phillips, East Bridgewater Rep. Matt Dyer from Old Colony Planning Council, and Amber Stearns from the Appalachian Mountain Club Bay Circuit Trail to discuss the federal Douglas Rail Trail proposal. You guys want to, you are the next contestant at the Select Board meeting.
Unfortunately, Amber is caught in traffic, so.
She's not on Union Street, is she?
No. No. So, thank you for having us. I think we met about, to discuss our proposed trail about a year and a half ago, and we've been meeting regularly, building interested parties, and we've come up with a proposed route, and we're very excited about it. This is Matt Dyer, and you all know Matt Dyer from Old Colony.
Yep.
And this is,
This is John Fay.
I'll be the new Matt.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be parting ways from Old Colony Planning to be Whitman's next Assistant Town Administrator.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So
So,
they'll miss you at Old Colony, but Whitman's game.
yep, thank you. And John is really great to work with, very knowledgeable, and he'll be a great addition to the group.
So, do you want to
Sure.
share what we've done? I mean, we've really been meeting and brainstorming routes and looking at building consensus, visiting other towns. Matt's, you've been to Whitman, Abington, Bridgewater, and we're presenting to you tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, so as Diane had mentioned, we were here about last year, and over the past year, we've been working with open session style, where anyone can come in, the public can come in, provide their feedback, and through the feedback, identifying points of interest to lay out the trail, what's the best way to go about it. We had identified in your packet, there's a couple of different maps. One is just the regional overlook, or a regional overlook, as well as just the town of East Bridgewater. I'm trying to zoom in here for you, for everyone in the room and at home. And, thank you. And as you can see, the shared use pathway would come in from Whitman. So originally, there was the Old Colony Railroad line that would come from Whitman, right where my mouse is, and then kind of cut right through East Bridgewater. And it kind of straightened out right here as the part of the original trail. And when the former rail line closed its doors, it said to the communities, you can either maintain the easement or you can give it back to your residents. Some communities maintained it, other communities said, we'll give it back. East Bridgewater being one of those communities that said, let's give it back. So with that being said, a part of this project is now going out and kind of seeking permission to build, get an easement on the people's property to build this shared use pathway. So in your packet as well, there's a table on the very back sheet with all of the properties that we had identified, saying that this would be a great way for the trail to go through. I'm just going to stop right here and iterate 2 points. One, that this is just still a concept.
Yep.
Nothing, for folks at home, this is not a trail that's going to be built tomorrow or anything like that. Number 2, I don't think anyone is interested in eminent domain, just to put out that rumor out there that people were going to use eminent domain to build this. We're not. We want this to be a community asset supported by the community. But jumping into the layout, right along the Whitman line, coming in from Whitman on the old rail line, coming in. Let me see if I can zoom into. Unfortunately, I don't have internet on this computer here tonight. But coming in, there's just a couple of private properties, but then kind of right here, there's a big chunk of land, multiple parcels that the town of East Bridgewater owns, which is the bright yellow on your maps, owned by the town of East Bridgewater. And then there's a couple of properties that are in tax title where there's opportunity for the town to kind of maybe work with that property owner to maybe figure out a way to benefit both parties. But then as it kind of comes down into East Bridgewater Center, kind of goes through the ball fields, comes through the cemetery, crosses the street over to Town Hall, the high school complex, and then crosses Route 18, and then kind of reconnects with the original former rail line. And that is owned right at the moment by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So this trail then would, whoop, oh geez, oh boy. But I don't have my mouse, so it makes it a little tricky. But it will then go into Bridgewater. Oh, I see what I did there. Then go right into Bridgewater and then connect down there. So we're still working with our partners down in Bridgewater to figure out that layout. But for tonight, we feel very confident that this was the best route for the town of East Bridgewater. So I know that we're just presenting this information to you tonight, so we're not going to make any asks to say, yep, this is the trail or whatnot. But just for the select board to consider it, kind of review it, and think about the next steps, right? So the next steps is asking about permission. And there's multiple ways to kind of approach it, and it's whatever you guys feel comfortable with. You could have the working group kind of maybe reach out and do the introduction and maybe ask people what their thoughts are on it. You can approach it with legal counsel if you prefer. Maybe, we should have legal counsel in on the conversation, or maybe just reference what legal counsel has to say on what the next approach would be. And then once that is said, and then we start obtaining permissions for the easement, then we can start to go out for a feasibility study, and then engineering plans, and then hopefully building the trail.
So in order for this to go forward, like with those private properties, if people didn't want to do it, would that like kind of derail, see what I did there?
I see what you did there, yeah.
The whole thing, or, like, is it kind of an all or nothing? Like, we either need everybody to buy in, because then there'd be gaps.
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's certain portions, so on that parcel map that you can see, there's some areas that we might be able to say, if one property owner says, I prefer not, maybe there's a way to go around it and obtain permission from maybe a butter to that parcel. And then there's some parcels where it is like, this is all or none. If they say no, then we're going to have to redraw the map.
Okay.
But that's kind of the fun part of it, right? Is
That's the fun part.
is to draw the map.
There's a
Redraw
reason
the
I'm a
map.
library director and
Yeah,
not a
right.
planner. Okay. Peter, your question?
No, I mean, it's hopefully, like Carol said, you get the same direction from some of the private owners that they, see the benefit of having this. But, I commend you, Diane, for sure, for all the work you guys have been doing. It's like I said, not just the 2 times that you've come in here, but many times I'm sure you met and gone over this yourself. So hopefully you can get something finalized, and I'm very supportive of it for sure.
Yeah. Charlie?
I guess part of it would be simply the earlier you want some help, the better in some cases, in the sense of, for instance, you mentioned tax title properties where we know we're working with the treasurer collector and going through the foreclosure process. We want, if we're going to end up in that place, we'd like to make sure that we get our easements in before we resell the land, for instance, or maybe we don't resell for that particular reason.
Right.
Good point.
And I would think we'd want to loop town council in
Yep.
on next steps, just so that
We'll
says
need
the wrong
a
thing, or,
Right.
alarms
standard
anybody
easement-
or whatever.
Yeah, standard easement form that can be, used as a basis for, if we're going to be doing this across a number of properties, not have to reinvent the wheel for each property.
Right.
It doesn't look too bad. I mean, there's, I see a few of them here, but it doesn't look like something that's completely out of. But Charlie's point is great, because we do have some properties that will be going to auction later in the September, maybe, area, September, October, maybe.
Yeah, for the foreclosure part, obviously, the Central Street proproperties are
Yeah,
nowhere
they're
near
nowhere
this.
near this, yeah,
It's a
right.
totally
So
different area.
Keep that, I would keep that in mind as well. Because I definitely want to see if those are parts of this process. I don't think so, but.
And I would imagine it would depend, like, each property would probably be a different level of commitment for what they would be doing, but can you kind of give an overall, like,
Yeah.
what somebody would be asked to do?
Sure. So for the layout, we tried, I'm very conscious of homeowners, right? No one wants this in their immediate backyard, cutting through the pool, right? So most of this is in wooded land.
Okay.
and not right on someone's property or anything like that where it really interfered daily life.
Nobody's got to dig up the dahlias or anything?
No, yeah, no. And if we do, if somewhere they have a big dahlia farm out there, maybe that's something that we can do to help ensure a smooth transition. But what would be asked would be just an easement of probably 15 feet, with the path wanting to be 12 feet wide, 15 feet just to give a little wiggle room on the other side, where we'd be able to go in and plant screening or put up a fence if that was a condition that folks would want. But for the most part, the pathway does cut just primarily through woods.
Okay.
So there's just a few properties. I'll also mention on that back sheet, that table, if you lay out the maps, the first sheet at the top and then so on, that table corresponds with the properties going north to south.
Okay.
Just to make life easy,
Yep.
just so it's like, wait, how does that work?
Okay.
So just to make life easy on your,
Okay, great.
all right, Diane, anything else?
I guess my question would be, do we wait to hear back from town council and?
I think so.
Well, I guess the question, what do you want town council to
Yeah.
do is what,
Advise us as to how they would like us to contact the abutters. Do
Okay.
they want to contact them? Is there a letter? Is there a form?
okay.
Yeah.
I can lay that out. I think I'd rather not have town council do the contacting simply because of the cost, but town council can give you this, as I said, we can have a generic easement agreement to start off with, and work through, have you have the recipe for working with those residents, with those property owners. If then we need help, additional legal help, that's there, but I think most of the burden is going to be still with you all.
But if town council can provide them with a template that
Right.
then they can use, so
Okay.
you'll contact them about that?
Yes.
Okay.
Great, that sounds great.
All right.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Thank
Nice
you.
to see you all. Thank you.
Keep
Yes.
us posted.
We are
In a couple minutes,
a
right?
few minutes early. Do you want to bang out some action items? I don't want to start the cell tower conversation earlier in case people are coming exactly at 6:30.
Can I just speak about rail trails in general,
Sure.
Sure.
just for half a second?
Come on.
Just because I've been going around and doing them, and it's such a boon to the community that they go through. I mean, not only tourism-wise, but the houses that are on them, it's like being on a golf course. Like, people want those houses to be able to access the trail immediately from their backyard. And I have friends that have retired on rail trails, and it's a ton of fun. And so not only are we increasing, transportation access for people who have mobility issues, right? Because they can get someplace without having to get into a car. But it's also a community builder. It's also, great for the local economy. So I just wanted to speak to that.
Great. Thanks, Jackie.
agree.
Thank you.
I wonder if we could get Dr. Williams out of here. Do you think
Sure.
we could do that
Sure,
discussion in
sure.
less than 5 minutes
Oh,
and get
yeah,
that done?
it
And
shouldn't
then that
take
way
that
you're
long.
not here for your whole night, because I know tomorrow night you're tied up too.
Gina, come on up.
So let's do number 13.
Number 13, all right, discussion and vote on waiver of fees for the Central Elementary School project.
So this is basically just waiving the permitting process for the central school build.
Correct.
Because why would we charge you so that then you could pay it back to us?
But a major thing is this, is that if the charges are part of the overall cost, then it's part of the overall cost of the bond, which means that the residents would end up paying interest on money that is just simply moving
So it
from
makes no
one
sense.
pocket to another pocket.
And we must have done this in the past.
We did it for
We
the
did
high
it for the
school.
high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to add anything?
No, that sounds great.
I mean, it just.
Please? No
makes sense.
please?
Yes, please.
Oh, spoken as only a brother can
Right?
speak, right?
I'll make a motion to waive the fees for the Central Elementary School project.
Second. Motion's made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go.
Thank you so much.
You get a free permit. Nothing else about it is free.
no.
The permit is.
We'll take care of every little bit.
Thank you.
I don't think anybody else
Can
is.
do one
Anybody
and
else?
two, knock those out, and can.
Yeah, we can. I don't think there's anyone on.
I don't think anybody else is here for any specific action item, right?
Right.
Okay.
All right, I'll make a motion to
Yeah.
approve the minutes of the May 18th, 2026 Select Board's meeting.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approve but not release the minutes of the May 18th, 2026 Select Board's executive session meeting.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Approve and request changes to the officers, directors, LLC management for the Commercial Club East Bridgewater located on 1 Nielsen Ave.
Second, any discussion? They do this every
No,
year
I mean, they
when
do this
have their
periodically,
elections,
right, yeah.
Every time you have an election, you have to notify the EBCC.
Okay, that's why.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Approve the request from the Southeastern Regional Service Group to award a one-year contract commencing on July 1st, 2026 to W. Mason for paper items, as well as to the bidders listed under the SERG, SG, DPW, Supply, Surjet Supply, IFB.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
See none. Aye. Okay, approve mutual aid agreement between towns of East Bridgewater and West Bridgewater. They agree that from the period of July 1st, 2026, June 30th, 2029, each town's building commissioner, inspector of buildings, local inspector, building inspector, electrical inspector, plumbing, and gas inspector will, at no expense to the other town, serve as the town's respective inspector with such services coordinated by the inspectors.
Okay, second. Any discussion?
I mean, we've continued doing this. This has worked out very well for all three communities. When Patrick's never complained that, anybody's taking advantage of any other community.
Nope.
I mean, and what we do is, then we don't have to hire somebody else to fill in when we have these gaps.
Right. I think the Board of Health does it too with West Bridgewater. They used to do it with West
Well, they have a district
Oh,
also.
so okay, that's right. Thank you.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approve the request from Ray Ponte for the use of the town common on October 31st, 2026, November 14th, 2026 for Field of Flags and placement of an 18 by 24 roadside advertisement sign on the municipal property from October 7th, 2026 to November 7th, 2026 to support the event.
Second, you will notice there's a change in command on this one, because this has always been Chuck Haran's event. But after, I think, 15 some odd years, he has handed over
Wow.
the lead on this one to Ray Ponte. So he'll be doing Field of Flags going forward.
Well, thanks to Ray for stepping up.
Yep, thank you, Ray. And thanks to Chuck for all the,
Very much.
Chuck was the one who initiated it. It was
Yeah.
his
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was his idea, so.
Thank you, Chuck, as well.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And
It
we'll-
is 6:30. So,
All right, let's go back to 7.
the reason I suspect many of you are here to discuss the cell tower on Washington Street. As you all know, I think we talked about this a few weeks ago, and then we asked to postpone it for a couple weeks so that we could gather some information, which we have done. We've gotten some information back from town employees, some concerns about the well and some situations. So before I do open forum on this, which, you all are welcome to speak, I just wanted to ask John Haynes if he could come up and just give us that report so that everybody's starting on the same page, because I think that this is very important to understand for our decision process.
Good evening.
Hello, sir.
So thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Again, we've shared this information with the board, but wanted to just have an opportunity to address it for the record, per se.
Absolutely.
And just hope that a few of the questions, considerations that we have would be addressed in any proposal that would be considered. And Water Superintendent Bryman said he put the majority of this together, but he had another commitment tonight, so I said I'd be happy to come and represent DPW tonight, as well as, any other concerns that may be related to this
Can you hear me?
initiative.
Speak a little louder.
Yeah. So,
Yell, John, yell.
I will yell.
10 or 20 employees,
Will
they haven't
speak
done
up.
something correct.
So obviously, I don't know, most of the residents, I'm sure, are now aware that the water department, we have 2 drinking water wells situated on this site. Consideration of that in this potential proposal we obviously have interest in what that proposal might look like. And when I say we, I'm representing the town of East Bridgewater because it's part of our drinking water supply. So again, we have 2 wells that currently sit on that. They're aged wells. They were both installed in the mid-60s. Well, drinking water wells have a lifespan, and part of that lifespan is what's considered a cone of influence, which is how you have your well source, but it draws from the watershed and the perimeter of that well, which we refer to as a zone of influence. So there's a horizontal radius of influence around our wells, and that can range from 100 to 500 feet in some circumstances. Some conditions it exceeds that. That's actually why we have zone 1s, 2s, and 3s, if you look at the mapping. We'd like further understanding of what any potential construction might have within those zones, that zone of influence, which we have documentation of. We could share that with any proposal, any contractor that was interested in proposing. As I just alluded to, though, it currently has 2 drinking water wells on site. Those drinking wells do have a lifespan. We would obviously want to have a consideration of any impact that the placement of a tower or system would have on our ability to utilize that same well field with new the operation of drilling a new well, a satellite well, in proximity to our existing. And I think another thing that needs to be considered a lot of people aren't aware of this, but all of our wells, well fields, water infrastructure is protected federally, not only for drinking quality, but for security reasons.
Right.
It doesn't get talked about a lot because it induces panic. So, but there is significant security measures that are taken to secure the quality and safety of our drinking water. And so with any proposal like this, we would have interest in whether or not the current perimeter consists site access and security to that, and whether it would be shared access. I've seen some tower situations which have their own access to a shared property. We would just need, and I think all of us that are here and I think the board feels the same, significantly more information about what's actually being proposed before we would be comfortable with giving any sort of recommendation on this project moving forward.
Okay.
So I just wanted the board members to
Right.
understand this, and an opportunity to, if there were any questions for clarification that you're interested in on our behalf.
I mean, to me, it feels like this, the situation with the wells is a significant risk in terms of moving forward with this.
Limitation, anyway, I'm not sure about the word risk, but
Well,
again, we want the limitations.
I see it as a risk for the future of the wells, for the security of the situation. Like you said, I mean, you've seen things where they've done it separately. But we sort of don't know a whole lot, other than, we have this.
Yeah, no.
What are your thoughts?
I agree. So, I mean, I think the last meeting we had with a lot of the residents that were here was presented to us just to see if we were interested, as John has said, to the potential of having this tower. Not having the knowledge, and I said that right at the meeting, not having the knowledge of what the pros and cons on either side of this case were, I certainly wasn't going, I was hoping the board wouldn't go and just say, nope, we've got, people that don't want it, so we don't have it, and I think what I had said is, we've got 20 or so people here that are upset about it, which I understand, but we also got another 15,000 sitting in our community that we have to be concerned about as well, and everybody knows, money is extremely tight these days, but that doesn't mean that we're not looking at every aspect, and that's what we did, so we reached out, I reached out both to the fire and the police, discussions with them on, their quality of cell service in that area, because that's a concern. Reached out to yourself, and that's, I think, some of the conversation that had been talked about before, the concern that Brian had in this area. which makes a lot of sense. Also looked at a couple residents that have some background in this, whether it be building, planning, whatever the case may be. And, you know, there was a back and forth of what maybe some of the health concerns, because I know that was a question, along with some of the other concerns we had. But that being said, me personally, you know, to your point, you know, this is I think a bigger concern, especially since, and I didn't even know there was a water shed or, you know, water table in there that would utilize and could be expanded upon. I think Brian also told me that there was, you know, potentially a stream or a river or something down, I don't know what it is, a waterway of some sort.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's in that
The
area.
Setauket River flows right through that.
Okay, right through that area, yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't going to pretend that I had any idea, first of all, where the hell we were talking about,
No.
and second of all, what the
Still not
potentials were. But to me, you know, the security in itself, in the day and age we live now with the stuff, you just turn on the news and, you know, read some of the things that go on in certain communities all over the country. You know, it's definitely a concern, and it's one that I think that was big enough for me to, you know, have apprehension about.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah.
That was obviously.
I was on the
primary
fence
consideration.
before, as it was, I was on the fence, and for me, this has, you know, pushed me into the no side of the equation.
The proposal wasn't there, as you said. We had nothing, and I even reached out the next day to, you know, Charlie and Rebecca, and, you know, they had reached out and said, no, all we have is a name. That's all we have
Well,
right now.
I mean, and you have the concept. I'm not,
Yeah.
in the sense of, you would not see an actual proposal unless the town decided it wanted to lease the land for a cell tower. You would then get proposals from the developers, whatever. You might say, we want a schematic, for instance, showing us where you exactly we want to put the cell tower, how big the pad would be, how tall the tower would be, whether there be any accessory buildings, all that is part of their proposals. You're not going to get that in the initial letter of interest, because what you're doing is you're going to need to go out to bid if you did this.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what was brought up in the conversation we had. We had nothing other than the fact that there was a potential, and we should take a look at it.
Right.
But we should first find out all the information and open up that to people like yourself, and again, the fire and police, and we did that. We did the due diligence we needed to do, and you guys coming forth, to me anyways,
Yeah.
it seems that, you know, some of the downsides are gonna outweigh any of the positives going forward.
And we don't
just
even
on the-
know what those are, because we
Right,
don't.
don't know.
We don't know what the
No.
potential income would be.
And I'm sure
we
there's
don't
some other
know what
things, and
the
people in the room probably-
litigation costs could be, and, you know, there's a lot.
Yeah.
These Zone 1 watershed protection areas are our most sensitive and should be protected with the most effort
Yep.
that the town can put forward.
Right.
They were designated.
We should also not be naive and think that because the town turns us down, that the same people might not approach private land, and if they do that, then
Street.
there's nothing we
We'll see
can do
what
about
happens,
it.
yeah.
But that's
Well, that's a whole different.
that's a whole different
road,
kettle of
yeah,
fish, as my
right.
grandmother
We'll see where that
would have
goes.
said.
Sure
But
they'll-
I don't want to, you know, I know that a lot of you took time to come out, so if you still want to speak on this, even though, you know now what our feelings are, I don't want to put anybody off from that. So please, John, did you have anything else you want to add?
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Does anybody have anything they want to add?
So it's just a done deal now?
If we don't go forward with the RFP, then from the town's end of it, that's the end of
I
it.
live at 1707, just so you know, and that whole stretch of land is all wetlands.
Yep, yep.
And it all flows down into the river.
Yeah, no, if we don't do anything,
We
it would,
need people to identify themselves.
oh, yeah, I'm sorry, sir,
Ron Marks, 1707 Washington Street.
thank you. With us, like I said, it doesn't mean that Verizon or any other cell tower couldn't then go to a private landowner and, you know, do that, and then they would have to go through a permitting process and planning board, I imagine, and they'd be up against some of the same things that the town would with a zoning or overlay district, but if it's private land, we can't stop that. Steve, can you
Steve
just-
Belcher, 1825 Washington Street. Couple of things. I was asked to come here, as we're made aware of what's going on. The select board is completely right that the proposal to put a tower up someplace in the nearby vicinity is perfect, could come tomorrow.
Mhm.
You know, could come into the form of the cranberry box, whatever. I view this as, you know, being formerly of the planning board, this is a real estate transaction for the town. You need to make a decision tonight whether you want to lease this particular parcel of land or entertain that for these purposes. It sounds like you've got some negative information to, you know, to oppose that. The sensitive area, what John Haynes raised, all of that. Coming from the cellular industry and supporting a number of sites, sometimes those issues are mitigated. but I'm not sure if the developers would want to go through what needs to be done to mitigate those issues in lieu of maybe some other properties that would be a better choice. The other thing I've heard people talk about is bylaws and things of that nature, and making rule changes in the town for the placement of cell towers. At one point, the planning board had tackled that issue and created a zone for towers to be in an industrial area and certain setbacks and all of that. And that has actually gone out with preemptive legislation, so that's not something that we're in a position that we can do. Preemptive legislation, which I feel was either a federal or a state level.
I think it's federal.
Yeah, and it was with the FCC at the federal level, and you cannot deny these services.
Right.
So as far as the town goes and all of that, it's the pressure is the technologies that developed in the placement of these towers come in. We're going, the placement of them, it basically becomes down to a real estate decision. As far as the town goes, I would embrace the continuing conversation with the proposed developers and say, hey, what other parcels of land that we have in town that may be more suitable for this activity? But at the end of the day, there's also a lot of private land out there. I know there was a town that I think we improved the site a little further down on Plymouth Street. I'm not sure why it did not get developed, but there's potential to put towers pretty much anywhere around town, and we have to embrace it to a certain degree.
I don't think there's anywhere around town that wouldn't, raise these same concerns from neighbors, just like this one has.
I'm concerned, actually, there's a couple towers around where there's only one carrier on it. I'm kind of surprised at the other carriers that have ridden backside on it.
I mean, I think they potentially went out there because, anyone that's in the area knows it's kind of a dead zoned area for cell service to a degree, but,
Just to speak on that, where I live, I don't know I have good service around it.
Yeah. Well,
It depends on the carrier.
We've heard from people that have said that, and then we've heard from people that have said no. We've also heard from people who think it's great that there's no service in their area, so.
It depends on who the carrier is and who's in the tower and where they're placed.
Depends on who's calling you on the cell phone.
No, but it depends on the carrier. If it's strictly a Verizon tower, it's a Verizon, you're not gonna get your mobile service from it.
Right.
If you're riding back channel on Pure Talk and some of the other carriers that maybe use those towers, yes, you are, but there's a whole level of access there that, that plays into it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, and Steve, I want to thank you because I reached out to you and you answered me right away with some of the back knowledge that you've had and been the planning board as well, and went through some of them. My other concern was obviously, do they have any ability to come back after us? Because we are not allowing that, and talk to town council on that, and that's not a.
It's a real estate deal. So you're as you mentioned, Peter, you're representing 15,000 other people within the town in a real estate transaction.
Yep.
Whether we want to move forward with that real estate transaction in that particular parcel of land, you're making a decision tonight. I would think, as far as if I was sitting on the other side of the table as developing a cell site, I'd say this is not worth my bothering my time. Doesn't mean you can't go 1,000 feet further down the road and say, hey, parcel 0 on Crescent Street was just sold at auction, maybe we can put a tower in over there.
So.
Does anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Well, if you do.
Can you just identify your name and
Nancy
address?
DeChambeau, 448 Bedford Street.
Thank you.
If you do any research on cell towers, like Children's Health Defense, or look them up, they're not very healthy at all for people. And you don't read any good information about having a cell tower in your area. And I have a very, very old phone, and I have no problem getting cell service. And everybody needs to look up Children's Health Defense and look up the negative things about having cell towers in your area, and then think about the risk of people getting sick. Everybody should write down Children's Health Defense, because they got petitions signed by, I think it was 15,000 people, and 6,082 had come down with sickness from cell towers. So that needs to be kept in mind, because people are raising children in this town, and they have their grandchildren in this town, and I don't know, I just don't think they're safe at all from what I've looked up.
Okay, thank you for your comment. Yes, sir.
Hi, good evening. My name is Sean Noonan. I'm at 68 Stonegate Drive in East Bridgewater. I've been here for about 5 years. I would tell you that I worked, previously I was in Brockton, and I was on the zoning board in Brockton for 6 years. And I would start by commending all of you, because everybody seems to get along and is nice to each other here. That was not my experience.
You weren't at the last meeting, were you?
It's much more fun when there's a little conflict. I just want to make 2 points. The first one would be, we were always very cautious when it came to things like this. You need to have all your information in front of you. And secondly, the water thing is a big issue. That is 2 of 8 tanks. That is 25% of the water source in the town of East Bridgewater. And being in Brockton for as long as I was, I can tell you that water is life.
Yep.
And we took that very seriously whenever there was anything that impinged on any areas where there were issues with the water, because the water was tough to get in the city. So I would only tell you, be cautious before you jump on something like this. I'm on Stonegate. I'm very close by there. My reception is not great, but I don't know that I would want to mess with the water situation either. So my position, that would be my position. But I would just say that it's something you should really factor in. Water matters.
Okay, thank you for your comments. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Hi, Jeffrey Francis, 42 Stonegate Drive. I mean, as you're saying, it's a real estate deal. If the incentive here was financial, this would be placed in between 4 significant neighborhoods, and I would think the loss in property value would offset any potential financial benefit you'd get from this. And that's putting aside, if they decide to press forward with this, the litigation, which would be long and it would be expensive, and groups trying to prevent this from going forward.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Lisa Lesoa, 60 Stonegate. So was this potentially proposed because of the lack of service in that area, or were they just looking to find a spot to put another cell tower?
I think both. We were approached by them. We didn't reach out to them. They contacted us.
Because I had purchased a lot in Stonegate kind of on the earlier stages, and I was always told by Bob Lundeen, who sold us the lot, and other people that had lived there prior to myself, that due to the fact it was a sand and gravel pit, that it was the minerals in the soil there that interfered with the service. Like, I know at some points, like, I can't walk from one side of my house to the other side with the cordless phone because I get a block somewhere, and it's not a phone issue. They just said it's because of like what was in the actual ground before they built over it.
I'm not a cell phone engineer.
Yeah, so I don't,
tend
yeah,
to
it's
know
just odd
whether
that
that's
they
the
picked that
case.
particular site, so I didn't know if it was something that they proposed, like that was one of the sites, or was that their only site that they kind of came forth with?
Well, it's the only site they came forward to the town. It doesn't mean that they can't look at other sites in the area that are privately owned. But they looked at the town sites that we think that this is a good place to put one, and that's why we're having this conversation.
And is it within the realm of possibility that if a person wanted to sell off a portion of their land to put the cell tower on, they could do that without opposition?
They would
Well,
have to still go
not-
through a permitting process. They would have to go to planning board. If there was a change in the zoning, that would have to go to town meeting. But that doesn't mean that they couldn't attempt it.
Initiate it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can't prevent a private sale or lease of property.
Cindy O'Donnell, Stonegate Drive. Hi. So my husband and I were driving down Walnut Street, and when you come to Crescent, just before you get there, there's a farm on the left-hand side that has a cell phone tower on their farm property. And I thought, that's really close. Not close, but it's, so why, it only, like, to your point, it only had like one thing at the top. Why would they not?
It might be a different carrier.
Right, but you would think these carriers would try to.
Depends on whose tower it is. I think T-Mobile directly put that tower up, and they may not be incentivized right now to allow other carriers on there due to competition.
Okay.
Generally speaking, when you see multiple towers managed or owned by Crown Castle, or I forget some of the carriers now, and maybe these folks now that are proposing this are somebody's name I didn't recognize, but for what it's worth, I've managed the power resources across 3 different carriers for 5,000 sites throughout the whole entire Northeast at various times, so you see all kinds of stuff. And RF never bothered me. It's all good.
Anybody else? I want to make sure everybody's, yes?
Yes. Dennis Antonino, 63 Stonegate, was at the last meeting. So I just wanted to get clarity. Are you doing a vote or not doing a vote?
We will vote when the discussion is done.
Okay,
Yes.
so you are going to vote?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'm glad to see that we're going by way of opposition to the cell tower. That's where I come down on this issue too. Regarding sort of future, the future, we do have the opportunity as a municipality to write in setbacks for cellular wireless infrastructure. There have been towns in Massachusetts that have done it. There are municipalities all over the U.S. that have done it. I think moving forward, we should look into something like that. That's a different topic than today. I'm just.
Well, and I think that would be planning board, right? That's not us.
Sure, you're right, yeah,
So,
absolutely.
just
And just so folks know, I am the one who created the site, eb4safetech.org. So there is some information there. I will be adding the concern about the water quality and security as well to that site, but I do see this sort of continuing. I do believe there's a way to prevent this infrastructure from going up near residences and schools and playgrounds and places of work, and I think we should, as a community, try to do that and put those provisions in place, because we can do that. The FCC does have a lot of strong laws within that 1996 Telecommunications Act, but there are ways for municipalities to put safeguards in. So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. All right.
If I may, just to that, East Bridgewater has actually done that already, and we had set up the specific zones, areas with setbacks, and where the siting of the towers could be. And again, that has been preempted, and that is no longer in effect. That has been nullified by, I believe it is a PRB with the FCC. So while towns and municipalities can put those things in place, it's overridden by other agencies that said, no, that's not a viable thing. I mean, it certainly looks, you can come up with areas and say this is a good invitation. A lot of that, the siting of the towers are going to be set through there's a process where they actually grid out and say, yeah, this is where my continuation is, and I need to bring it up and things of that nature. But again, we can put all the laws we want in, but there are preemptive rulings that nullify those laws, which is why we're having the discussion today.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, just one last thing.
Okay, and then we're gonna.
Yeah, Dennis Antonino, yeah.
We're in the wrong meeting.
Sure, yeah, I just want to point folks to Campanelli and Associates, who are attorneys who oppose this type of construction all over the U.S. They in fact do say that municipalities can put setbacks in and write that into law, of which the Telecommunications Act cannot nullify. So I think if anyone's interested, we should look more into that, but I think there are ways to prevent this from going up in our communities, around our homes and schools, so.
Okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nancy, did you want to say one last thing? You get the
How
last
many
word.
cell towers do we have in our community as of now?
5, I think, 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
Just 5 or 6? Well, I kind of, when I looked it up, said we have 36.
That, we don't have 36 cell towers that are the cell towers that we're talking about right now. There may be, for instance, ones on telephone poles for the 5th level of cell service, things like that. There may be radio towers and such, but if we're talking about T-Mobile type towers, Verizon type towers, it's 5 or 6.
All right. Do we need to vote?
Well, they're
not
asking you
pursue
to.
the
I
RFP?
mean, technically, you don't have to vote,
think
because
we
if you
should.
don't issue the RFP, if you don't tell me to issue the RFP, then nothing happans. I'm not going to go off by my
And
own.
vote
But
to
you
tell Charlie not to.
Yeah, I would first, don't do it. I want to thank Fire Chief, Police Chief, DPW, and
He's so diplomatic.
Steve. I just want to make sure they know, because I reached out to them at very short notice after, just meeting with the group only a few weeks ago, and they gathered quite a bit of information for me. So I want to thank departments for what they're doing, and thank you to the board as well for the due diligence that was done in order to come up with I think it was right. So.
And you did have, because our vice chair could not be here tonight, and she
Right.
did send you her
She
thoughts.
indicated that she was not in favor of
Thank
having
you. I want to get that
the
on record
town
on her behalf.
issue an RFP for the lease.
Right. Okay, so I will make a motion to not go through the letter of intent with,
Well, you're not issue an RFP
All right, RFP with,
for cell tower at this location.
there was a name though, wasn't there? We have a name of the company?
Well, it is, but the thing is that it doesn't matter who's asking, it's mattering whether you're issuing an RFP or not.
Right.
Because eventually, we could end up with several firms coming in.
Yeah, this way it's not specific.
Right, it's not specific to that.
Okay, second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Go. All right. Glad we made you happy. All right, we are up to
8.
7.
number 7.
Yep. Approve the event permit application from the town administrator for the summer kickoff celebration featuring none other than Dale and the Duds.
The one and only.
Dale and the Duds.
Yes.
Be held at Tom Common Wednesday, June 24th, 2026, from 6 p.m. to 8.
Second. It's a great, there they all go.
Dale and the Duds, the 24th, the Common.
Don't forget, beyond the common.
Mr. Dill was on our bus driver.
Oh, there you go. It's a great,
Oh, you'll be able to say it again 2 weeks from now.
Yeah,
we will. It's a great kickoff to the summer event.
Right.
Hopefully we'll have good weather. Any
with
further
that?
discussion?
Duds.
Sorry, Dale.
Dud.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right, let's have the meet and greet out front. Approve the request from the Professional Bartending Service LLC for a one-day liquor license for the Center at Sachem Rock, 355 Plymouth Street, for a baby shower held on June 7th. That's interesting.
Yes,
2026.
we do have a time machine. We are going to go back.
10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Second.
All right.
Any further discussion? Hope they had a good
Nope.
time.
Yep.
All in favor?
I didn't hear of any problems.
Nope, I heard no problems either. That's great. Okay, moving on to, we already did Donna. Donna's done.
Yep.
Appoint the town's FY27 representative to the Plymouth
Alternate.
County Advisory Board.
You need an alternate
Current.
to you.
Oh, serving as an alternate.
An alternate to
member.
you?
Yeah, because he's the
I
primary.
nominate Catherine.
All right. Member and Captain, I
That's
will
what happens when
second
you're
that
not at a
nomination.
meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Here we go.
All right, Catherine, congratulations. I think there's a meeting coming up you'll have to attend. Appoint Megan Crosby as the treasurer collector for the term of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029.
Second. Discussion? Charlie?
This is a normal 3-year appointment.
Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Yep. Discuss and vote and sign contract for the Director of Public Works position and appoint John Haynes as the Director of Public Works for the term of July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2029.
Second. Look, he's still here.
Discussion.
Do you
You
want
sure?
to-
You sure?
God willing.
You can always turn around.
Charlie, anything?
Again, another 3-year.
Standard 3-year
And
appointment.
in this case with John, we have a contract with Megan, we simply have a letter of employment,
Mm-hmm.
but John has a contract with the town, and that contract is ending, and we need to re-up.
3 more years. I just signed another 3-year contract myself.
Nice.
All right, any further discussion?
I have none.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Discuss and vote on the recommendation from the Personnel Policy Committee, the sick leave accrual language in the personnel policies. I'm hoping to God as printed.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Second. Rebecca?
It just includes a 35-hour work week as well as a 40-hour work week, just because there's different schedules.
Because we have people that do both.
Yes.
Yep.
Any further discussion? All in
No. ready to vote?
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, discussion of meeting schedule for July and August.
Right, we had originally had them posted, now, we haven't posted the meetings, but we posted the meeting schedule, I believe, for the 3rd Monday of each month. And because of people's vacations and such, and also because of a bond that we're issuing for the elementary school, we wanted to move these up by a week.
Just give me the dates.
Be July 13th, 13th, and then the 10th of August.
Yep.
Good with me.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
He said people's vacation schedules, he meant mine.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Do we need to vote on that?
No, I don't think so.
As long as you tell us to hold a meeting those days, then we're
And
doing
you'll
it.
notify Catherine that we made it official? Okay.
Vote to authorize town accountant to act on behalf of the town for the septic loan program.
Right, and there's the language in the next
As
page
printed.
there.
As printed. Discussion?
Yes, I do have discussion. So this is upstairs, the septic loan program, is that the Board of Health?
Yeah, it's Board of Health, but borrowing and the administration of the program goes through the town accountant's office.
Oh, I didn't know that, okay.
But they applied through the Board of Health.
Yes.
Okay.
The applications and such.
This has always been that way, I would
Yeah.
assume? All right.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? Nope. All in favor? Aye.
Discussion possible vote on the fiscal year 2026 contract with the East Bridgewater Superior Officers Association.
Second?
And we're done, we're ready to rock
done?
and roll. Well, it only gets us to another 3 weeks. We're going to have to continue to do a new set of negotiations with them, but at least this year is done before the end of the year.
You know, that,
Just do 3 weeks
we
at a
should
time.
get like a gold star for that, because that's not always the case.
3 weeks, all right.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the same thing I'm going down here, let's see, yep, vote and, discuss, vote, and sign the contract
For
for,
Karen, we are not ready yet,
Okay.
because we need the trustees
She
and
holding out, is she?
director. Pardon?
She holding out?
No, it's a matter of just logistics of having everybody, having read everything and said,
Yep.
given the okays.
Yeah, gets complicated. Okay. Is that it for action items?
yep, not ready for that, it's done, announcements, oh, I'm sorry. Jeez, I get so
Hey,
excited. I
stand
get like,
down! Lee, what you got?
I do not have anything, but town offices will be closed next Friday for Juneteenth.
Yep.
June 19th.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
Juneteenth, yeah.
Rebecca?
I don't have anything, unfortunately, sorry.
All right. Charlie?
Unfortunately, I got a bundle.
Oh, boy.
Thankfully,
We were on a roll for
here
a second
The first
there.
one with animal control officer and animal inspector, where
All right.
we have received a letter from the Gannons who are going to resign, or for instance, not continue the contract with the town as of the end of this month. I talked a little bit with Michael about this in the sense of, we've got a few weeks, but not a lot of time to try and transition. The town had a contract rather than an employee or employees for these positions, both animal control officer and animal inspector. And so how we want to move forward starting July 1st, whether we want to issue another request for proposals, knowing that we only received one proposal both times we did this. So I'm not sure there's a likelihood. And in the meantime, if we do that, we'll get very close to June 30th, if not to June 30th, and find out we have nothing. Another possibility would be to work with the police department to provide these services. Obviously, there's always money involved, and we're dealing with unions and such, but in a number of communities, I think Mike can confirm this, there are various, whether it's stipends or some other financial incentive for one or more officers to act as the animal control officer for the town. It's not a situation that someone needs to be on patrol 24/7 dealing with this. It's really pretty much on an on-call basis, but either whether you pay an incentive for each call or whether you provide a stipend and say, if we do get a call, and mind you, these would be normal hours. I mean, if there's an emergency, someone's going to respond. But if it's a normal call that can be dealt with during normal business hours, then we call Jane or Joe, police officer, and they can go out and deal with the situation. But obviously, we would have to talk with the unions, both the superiors and the patrol officers about that.
And I did talk to, because they provided services for Halifax and Bridgewater as well, so they're in the same boat.
So they're done with everybody.
They're done with everybody.
It's not us, it's them.
It's them, yeah.
It's not me, it's you.
Well, it's been Ed and Jake Gannon
Yeah.
have been the two certified ACOs. They got certified. Jake has decided to move on to, he's going in the route of another career. So when Ed just said he can't, manpower-wise, he couldn't handle it. So I did have some conversations with the Bridgewater chief and the Halifax chief, and the deputy chief also is going to have some conversations with West Bridgewater. So we're going to look at some different options we might, because West Bridgewater actually is in the same boat. They were looking to go with Precision as well
Yeah, right.
until this happened. So we're going to look at some options. But like Charlie mentioned, there are some communities, more like, Western Mass in certain areas where they do get a stipend, but that would have to be worked out with the unions because it's a total different work condition. Then we have the barn and the farm inspections as well, we have to have.
And I don't know whether, I don't think most, even in those communities, I don't think police departments tend to handle those, because those not, when you're dealing with violations and such, the barking dogs, nuisance dogs, biting dogs, whatever, unlicensed dogs, you can say, okay, fine, we're dealing with violation. Animal inspection is literally that, going out to the barns and inspecting.
Yeah.
And it's something I think we need to be working with the Board of Health about, because in that, wearing that hat, the Gannons needed to be working with the Board of Health, because it falls under that jurisdiction rather than the Select Board or the Police Department. So I think what I need to do is bring them up to speed, and, that may be a situation that there are individuals who are interested in that type of work, who might be available, and we can see what we can get from that.
Those things, like, you
Sort
can
of separate,
schedule them, right?
separate it out.
Yeah.
And
Which is
schedule those.
how we used to have.
Yeah, you could schedule, yeah, and
Did you
but
have
like
your
it-
hand up?
who, me?
No.
There's a third component to this that needs to be addressed.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
We're all done with components.
Collection and disposal of deceased. We've got, having some history with
That's
the
just
town.
Mr. Doherty, right?
Yeah, well, that has been one of the biggest benefits of, working with the Gannons, is they actually pick up
They pick up the roadkill.
the deceased and dispose, which turns into another Board of Health issue. Disposal of, because it has a number of factors that need to be considered about how you dispose of and where it's disposed of.
Right.
I was part of these conversations when we actually moved toward working with the Gannons, and it worked out very, very well, as you can see. A number of other communities did as well, but there's a few factors to think about, because when those things happen, they don't tend to be scheduled, but do need to be responded to relatively quickly.
Yeah.
Fortunately, we have a dare list for some of them, but I mean, that's still, when we
They're
can't
not
get in
coming
touch
to
with
get
someone, then
direct.
it becomes, a burden upon
Yeah.
someone else to get rid of it. Like you said, there are Board of Health issues, so there are three components to it we have to kind of look at in the next few weeks.
So will you report back on the 22nd?
Yeah, but work with everybody to see what.
We'll have something in the meantime. We'll definitely, it's on the burner.
All right. Thank you, Chief.
So that's one. What did we do? Let's see. Where was Ed and Ken?
Clothing drive, okay.
Clothing drive. Just, I wanted to pass on word from Deborah Tracy that they did very well. She, let's see, clothing drives have been a huge success as a community came together in support of our veterans. Clothes have been pouring in at such a fast pace and high volume that our initial plan to pick up clothes once a week turned into a 3 times a week schedule to prevent the overflow of clothing in the boxes. The high-quality clothing, estimated at $20,000 in value, was received in over 100 bags, boxes, tubs, on hangers, and as loose individual pieces. Also, she praised our students, the artists, technical students, talents of our junior and senior high school students received many compliments, and it was one of the key to knocking the ball out of the park. Enormous gratitude to the students and faculty at Bill Saver's steadfast delivery on the boxes. We're also appreciative of the Select Board, the Library, Town Hall, and Fire Department, staff and employees' participation, and they could not have done this event without our American Legion Post 91 funding support, the guidance, mentoring of Veteran Service Officer Chris Buckley, volunteer support from fellow East Bridgewater Democratic Town Committee and Veteran Project Subcommittee team members, along with numerous businesses in town that permitted posters to be hung in all their establishments, plus the buzz around for taking an interest in our community engagement. Thank you to all.
That was great. Very successful.
And then Memorial Day, Chris is on duty actually right now, so he sent a message to the board. Moving the ceremony inside paid off greatly, and we may look to do that more often in the future. Thank you to Paul Connell. He was key in getting the venue changed. Thank you to Peter for speaking, and thank you to Dan and the high school band. And also a big thank you to the residents of East Bridgewater. 150 showed up despite the weather, and it was a great day for the town.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard that.
I don't hear it.
I was out of town. I would have told him I
I
was
knew you were
out of town.
I told him when I walked in there.
I heard my name was in the program. I was like, oops.
She's not here.
And my thanks also to the chief. We've started both solicitation lists. One is, do you want to solicit and go door to door? Well, now you have to register. And if you don't want them coming door to door to your door, you can sign up through the police department and the website and get registered. And they are handed a list saying that Joe at 10 Main Street, nope, you don't go to that house. And people can do that. That's all.
What does Joe do if they show up anyway? Call you?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, no big deal. I mean, And just to speak on that, we had some vendors that, obviously, we keep going out to, they won't comply the last few days, so we'll have to take a look at that, if that carries on. There was one particular company last week, and they were told they have to come register, and they kept going right back out there, going to different neighborhoods, but we'll deal with that. But we did get an overwhelming response. I think
bet.
we have probably at least 300 on that list, so
Wow.
how it works, we have, it comes into the email to the website, we compile that Excel list, it gets updated daily, it goes to a specific box. I think we've only had 1 or 2 vendor applications to this point, but otherwise, we got a lot of great positive response.
Well, it was interesting to see how many people from other communities said, wait a minute, why isn't my community doing this?
Quite a few.
Oh, look
So
at
we
you
got
on
some
the
great
leading
support on it.
bleeding edge, huh?
Right.
But, you know,
I just don't answer the door. I just like drop to the floor, army crawl away, and hide until they're gone.
but it's been a good job. I mean, our detective units are pretty much, they're gonna, you know, Montero's overlooking it in the sense that he's up doing the backgrounds and everything. It's overseen by Detective Sergeant Kramer, but
Well, thank you for doing
the
that.
efforts of the deputy chief and everybody, we got it done. It took a little while, but we had to
Yeah, that's
get all the ducks in a row.
Right,
that's good.
right.
All right.
And that's it for me.
That's all you got?
That's all I got.
How about you? Sir?
No, I don't think I have anything. I think, no.
No?
I think we're moving.
All right.
moving on. I mean, so we do have a date. I know there's been some people asking, John's talking right now. I'll give him a second to finish his
Ahem.
application.
The clerk is talking.
That's all right. You guys, we got time. You guys- I don't want to misspeak, so we have had communication with C. Naughton about, I know there's been some questions regarding the road work and whatnot. Me and you spoke about it today, but I don't remember what the hell you said. So,
We're trying not to make any promises
We're not
right
making
now.
promises.
We're trying not to do.
but we want to keep them up to speed
Again,
anyways.
The project has reached a phase where we're nearing completion, probably 80% complete. I think a number of people can understand, or we hope they would understand that certain components that are necessary for completion of the project, actually the mechanicals, have been back ordered. So there's delay in getting them. That's caused CNOT Corporation to not be able to mobilize to complete that phase of the project until they get that. They're anticipating having those components in early July, and then we'll be able to move forward with completion of the septic pump station, which is what this is all related to be able to then deliver them, effluent to the city of Brockton and complete the project. The paving component, which I know is what primarily people are concerned of, is the road condition. They again CNOT is not a paving company, so they subcontract the paving. They're somewhat at the mercy of paving contractors. Believe me, I understand this. You set tentative dates and you try. They also have a component of mobilization, so they have to mobilize 4 components of that paving. Again, we anticipate that paving now to begin in early July. Actually, and I know for the people that travel those streets on a regular basis, that's not convenient, but paving in the July-August time period is preferable for a number of operational reasons as well. It'll decrease traffic impacts, busing impacts, things like that. The weather is typically much more conducive to paving operations. Things should, when they get started, should move smoothly, and that should be done in an efficient period of time.
Perfect. Thank you, John. That's it. Just want to make sure people know that we're still trying to push that.
This Sunday, June 14th, is Flag Day. It's also East Bridgewater's anniversary. We're at 203 now.
Oh, wow.
It's also my wedding anniversary, because I love this town so much. We got married on the same day as the birth of the town.
Really?
All right, we're going into executive session. I move that the East Bridgewater Select Board go into executive session for the following reasons pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel, or to conduct collective bargaining sessions or contract negotiations with non-union personnel, IT director, firefighters, and water sewer and superintendent pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A4, to discuss the deployment of security personnel or devices or strategies with respect thereto, and the Select Board will not convene an open session at the end of executive session. Second.
Second.
Discussion?
None.
I declare that having an open meeting on collective bargaining, contract negotiations, and litigation may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the select board. Any other discussion?
Nope.
All right, Carol Julius, aye.
Peter Spigot, aye.
All right, thank you, everybody.